Hi, this is Brett with Piano Aha. Have you ever wondered how you're supposed to remember all the fingerings for all these scales? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's much easier than you might think. You only have to be aware of one principle. And that principle I'm going to show to you right now. So let's learn all of the fingerings for the major scale in the right hand. We're going to start with the sharp keys. We'll start with 0 sharps, so C major. And I'll show you the principle upon which this whole thing rests. And that is that the first fingering group starts with a group of 3 notes, and the second fingering group has 4 notes. Of course, when you play it, it sounds like this, but we're not going to be worried about playing each one of these out. I just want you to see the fingering groups, and they will always be, 3 plus 4. So here's a group of 3, here's a group of 4. Now we'll move on to G major. We will play a group of 3 and a group of 4. Since G major has 1 sharp, that gives us these 2 groups. D major has 2 sharps, 3 plus 4. And you'll notice the lowest note in this group is always the first scale degree, and the lowest note in this group is the 4th scale degree, always. So the way we're getting to 3 plus 4 is by starting the first group on the 1st scale degree and the second group on the 4th scale degree, always. Now we'll move on to A major. A major has 3 sharps. So we'll have a group of 3 and a group of 4. E major has 4 sharps, a group of 3 and a group of 4. B major, 5 sharps, a group of 3 and a group of 4. These are the exact fingerings that you'll learn in any book about teaching you scales. The next key would be F sharp major. We'll come back to that. First, we want to look at the flat keys for the major scales in the right hand. So here we will start with 0 flats, so C major. Again, we've already done this one, so we know the group are 3 and 4. But this time, the important thing is that the first fingering group starts with C, and the next one starts with F. Before, we said it was important that the first fingering group start on the 1st scale degree, and the second one start on the 4th scale degree. This time, you'll see we're going a bit in a different direction. We're starting on C and F, which of course gives us the same answer in this case. But now, when we look at F major, we'll see what I'm talking about. F major has 1 flat, which gives us this group. 3 plus 4. The first group starts on C, the second group starts on F. And if I want to practice the scale itself, of course, I can just start with this group. Right? But these are the fingering groups. Now if I want B flat, again, I start on C, but I have 2 flats. That gives us these groups. I start on C and I start on F. And that gives us the fingering for B flat major. So if I wanted to practice it, I would just start on B flat and then get into our groups, get into our patterns. E flat major would have 3 flats, which would give us these notes. A flat major has 4 flats. And again, if I wanted to play it, I could just play A flat, B flat, and get back into our pattern. And D flat, 5 flats, which would give us these notes. And G flat major is interesting. C also gets a flat. which gives us that. So the first group doesn't strictly start on C, it starts on C flat, but it's a type of C. And the second group starts on F. And that you will recognize as being F sharp major as well. So I promised you before that we would get back to F sharp major, and this is it. The same as G flat, of course. A group of 3 and a group of 4. And of course, if I wanted to play it, I could just get us started and then get into the pattern that we just said. And we could even go one further to 7 flats, which would give us a C flat and an F flat. Again, the groups are always some sort of C and some sort of F. And you'll recognize this, of course, as also being B major, which we played before. And with that, we have all of the fingerings for all of the major scales for the right hand. So, now we have a complete set of fingerings for the major scales in the right hand. And it turns out, by the way, that we haven't really learned anything new, right? These are just the conventional fingerings that you'll find in any book. It's just a different way of looking at them. At some point, somebody looked at these and thought, I don't have to remember all of these fingerings. Is there not some sort of system? And it turns out there is, namely 3 plus 4. And now we want to use that same set of ideas to find some nice fingerings for the left hand. So it turns out we can do the same thing for the left hand if we just exchange sharps for flats and vice versa. So let's start with 0 flats, so C major. We'll have a group of 3 and then a group of 4. So just like this. You see I'm starting on the first scale degree, and the second group starts on the 4th scale degree. So first and 4th. Now you might already recognize this is not the conventional fingering for the C major scale you might have learned before. Bear with me, I'll come back to that later. Let's move on to F major. So F major, again, we're going to have a group of 3 plus a group of 4. That gives us a perfect fingering for F major. B flat has 2 flats. Again, 3 plus 4. E flat, 3 flats, 3 plus 4. A flat, 4 flats, 3 plus 4. D flat, 3 plus 4. D flat major has 5 flats, 3 plus 4. G flat major with 6 flats would be the next scale. We'll come back to that one. Let's jump now to the sharp keys. So we'll start again with 0 sharps. C major has 0 sharps. This is the same fingering we had before. Now, we're starting on C. The first group's lowest note is C. The second group's lowest note is F. That will be our principal for the sharp keys. If we move to G major, which has 1 sharp, then we would start our first group on C, and our next one on a type of F. So in this case, F sharp. So a group of 3 and a group of 4. And obviously if I wanted to play the scale itself, I could just start here and then get into our groups, etc. Now, D major has 2 sharps, so that would be like this. In this case, I'm starting on a type of C, right? C sharp, and a type of F, F sharp. These are the fingering groups for the left hand. Obviously, if I wanted to play the scale itself, I could just start on this note. Right, and then that gets me perfectly through the fingering up to whatever point I would like to be up top. A major, 3 sharps, 3 plus 4. E major, 4 sharps, 3 plus 4. B major, 5 sharps, 3 plus 4. And again, if I wanted to play the scale, I can just get us started on the B itself and then just play through our fingering groups. Now after that, we would have 6 sharps, which would give us these notes. And you'll recognize this too, which we're now seeing as F sharp major, but it's the same thing as the G flat major that we left out before. So this here would be the set of fingering groups for G flat major or F sharp major. right? And if I wanted to play it itself, obviously I could start here and keep going, etc. And we could even go one further and say 7 sharps, which would give us these. Again, the lowest note here would be a type of C, C sharp, and this would be an F, or an F sharp. And that would be the same thing as the D flat major that we had before, and with that we have all 12 of the fingerings for the major scales in the left hand. So, now we also have nice fingerings for the major scales in the left hand. And as it turns out, in the majority of cases, these are the exact same fingerings that you'll learn in any conventional book. Be that as it may, for these fingerings in the left hand, there are a few that deviate from the conventional rule. If you would like to learn those fingerings instead, no problem, there's a simple rule. If the first and fifth scale degrees of a scale are white, then just play those first 5 scale degrees with your 5 fingers and then cross over with your middle finger. I myself prefer not to waste my brain power on something just because it's conventional, but that's up to you. In any case, thanks for watching this video and happy ahas.